What's up everybody, welcome to another episode of Sick Eric TV. Today we are doing a phone comparison between the Google Pixel 6 and the Motorola Edge 2021. Both fantastic devices. Both are very nicely priced devices. Well, as far as the Motorola, when it first got released, it was $499, and then the price went up, and I think the price went back down to $499. The Pixel 6 starting off at $599. This is the 256 variant of it, so this is $699. So different prices, very nicely priced on both of these. We're going to be comparing the specs and seeing the differences between both of these devices. Before we do, click that subscribe button and that bell icon, that way you get notified on future videos just like this. So let's get started. Google Pixel 6 versus Motorola Edge 2021. Let's go. Alright, so both of these devices are very nicely built phones. Different build quality on both of these. As you can see, both of them are very nice. The displays on here are very nice. We're going to start off with the dimensions of the Google Pixel 6. It is 6.24 inches tall, 2.94 inches wide, and 0.35 inches thin. So it is a pretty sizable device, very nicely sized. It's not too big, not too small. It weighs about 7.30 ounces, covered in Corning Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and Gorilla Glass 6 on the back. You do have your aluminum frame going around the device, and it is sort of a matte finish, so it looks very nice and clean and premium, and it feels nice and premium. IP68 water and dust resistance on here, so a very nice build, premium build on the Google Pixel 6. Going on over to the Motorola Edge, the dimensions are 6.65 inches tall, 2.98 wide, and 0.35 thick. So it is a little bit of a bigger phone, actually a big phone. That's one gripe that I have about the Motorola Edge. It is a huge phone, even compared to the V60. This is a big chunker of a phone, but still very nice and large display. It weighs about 705 ounces, and the only reason why it's lighter than the Pixel 6 is because the back is plastic and there is no IP rating on here. It is water repellent design. It's a Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on the front, plastic frame, plastic back, so it is a little bit of a lighter phone even though it's so big. But as far as build quality goes, you got to give it to the Pixel. It just feels more premium and a little bit more weight to it. But if you like the plastic backs on the Motorola, they are more durable, but this plastic back is shiny and it does pick up a lot of fingerprints and will scratch a little bit easier than a matte finish that you would get on other devices. So keep that in mind. You might want to slap a case on the Motorola Edge as far as getting scratches on it on the back. So as far as displays go, the Google Pixel 6 has a 6.4 inch AMOLED display. It does support HDR10+. It has a resolution of 1080 by 2400 with 411 pixels per inch. It is covered in Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, as I mentioned earlier, and you do get an always on display on the Google Pixel 6. It is a fantastic display. Colors on here are great. Brightness is okay. It's not the best in the world. It can get bright, but you might have a little bit more difficulty seeing this in direct sunlight, but still it gets the job done, and this display is absolutely fantastic. It's an AMOLED. It does support 90 Hz refresh rate, so that is an excellent thing. It is very fast and smooth, and the colors and the saturation are very nice on the Pixel 6. Going on over to the Motorola Edge, you get a 6.7 inch LCD display, supports HDR10. As far as the resolution, it is a 1080p by 2460 with 401 pixels per inch, covered in Corning Gorilla Glass 3. Now this display does support 144 Hz refresh rate, so this is a very fast and smooth device. Like, even though the processor is not a flagship processor, this phone is very fast and snappy, and this display is very responsive. Now, it is a LCD display, so you don't get that always on option, but you do get the peak display. That way you could see your notifications and interact with them while the phone is asleep, but still no always on display. And it is an LCD. I prefer AMOLED, but a lot of people like LCD displays just because you don't get that burn-in. Brightness on here is okay. It does not get as bright as other devices. You might struggle to see this outdoors in direct sunlight, but it's still a fantastic display, and colors on here look great. LCDs have their advantages as far as being over OLEDs, but still fantastic display on either one. You will not be disappointed. You got the Google Pixel 6 running Android 12, and the chipset is the Google Tensor chipset. It is a 5nm chipset. You get 8 GB of RAM and 256 storage on this particular model with UFS 3.0. The GPU is going to be a Mali G78 MP20 GPU on the Google Pixel 6. Go on over to the Motorola Edge. It is running Android 11. Hopefully we get Android 12 sometime soon. Qualcomm 778G 5G, which is a 6nm chipset, so not as premium as the Pixel 6. The Adreno is an Adreno 642L, and this particular model has 8 GB of RAM and 256 storage, so the RAM and the storage are the same on both of these models. So you get plenty of storage. No micro SD card support on either one of these, unfortunately, but still 256 I think is more than enough for your average user. For these devices, if you're going down to 128, that is getting kind of close with no options for expandable storage. So 256 I think is the sweet spot. So as far as the cameras, this is where things get interesting. We all know Pixels take excellent, fantastic pictures and video, and the Google Pixel 6 this year is no exception. You do get excellent pictures and video on here. As far as the cameras go, on the rear you get a 50 megapixel main sensor with an aperture of f1.9. It does have omnidirectional PDAF, laser autofocus, and optical image stabilization. On the Pixel 6 you get a 12 megapixel ultra wide aperture of f2.2 with the 114 degree field of view. On the front you get a 8 megapixel camera with an aperture of f2.0, and you can record up to 1080p 30 frames per second on the front facing camera and up to 4K 60 on the rear. Going on over to the Motorola Edge, you get a 108 megapixel main sensor, aperture of f1.9. You do get PDAF as well. You get 8 megapixel ultra wide, aperture of f2.2 with 119 degree field of view. You also get a 2 megapixel depth sensor, which is an aperture of f2.4. Front facing camera is a 32 megapixel camera with an aperture of f2.3. And it does support HDR. You can record up to 4K 30 frames per second only on the Motorola Edge. The front facing camera can record up to 4K 30 frames per second, so that is better than the Google Pixel 6 with that higher camera resolution. On the front facing camera you could record at 4K on the Motorola, but you could only record at 1080p on the Google Pixel 6 as far as front cameras are concerned. Stabilization on the Motorola is not that great. I don't think it has any sort of stabilization with video, while the Pixel 6 does have stabilization when you're recording video and steady video. So as far as cameras go, both of them take really good shots. The Motorola has a higher megapixel 108 megapixel camera, but it does lack in that optical image stabilization, while the Google Pixel 6, we all know Pixels take excellent pictures. You might have been seeing some pictures flash on your screen. As far as video goes, like I said, Motorola Edge is going to be a little bit more jerky than the Google Pixel 6 as far as video and stabilization goes, but they both take really good video. 4K, the Motorola has the lead in 4K front-facing camera, while the Google Pixel 6, we all know, takes really good video and pictures. And let me know which one you think looks better as far as the camera samples you are seeing flashed on your screen. As far as stereo speakers go, the Google Pixel 6 offers a stereo speaker setup with the speaker being at the bottom and the secondary being up here at the top. The Motorola Edge only supports one bottom firing speaker, and the audio on the Motorola Edge isn't that great when you're using that speaker. It sounds okay, but it does not sound nowhere near as good as the Google Pixel 6 or any other device that comes out. So that's one disappointment on the Motorola Edge, is that lacking of stereo speakers. But if you want to get some good audio, go ahead and connect some Bluetooth headphones and you should be okay. But as far as speakers go, the Google Pixel 6 definitely takes the cake on that one. It just sounds a lot better than the bottom firing speaker on the Motorola Edge. You do get a lot of options for audio quality though. On the Edge, as far as settings go, you can choose from music, movie, game, and podcast. So audio on here is really good when you have Bluetooth headphones connected. So don't get me wrong on that. Bluetooth audio is good on both of these, but the Motorola Edge sounds really good as well. Neither of these devices have a headphone jack, so unfortunately the headphone jack is gone on mostly all of these devices. So no headphone jack on either one of these. The Google Pixel 6 has Bluetooth 5.2 and it does support Wi-Fi 6E with USB Type-C 3.1 at the bottom per usual. I just knocked over my Android guy. And the Motorola Edge supports Bluetooth 5.2 and it also supports Wi-Fi 6E, and it has a USB Type-C 2.0 at the bottom, so a little bit lower of that Type-C connection. Fingerprints on here are both in separate or different spots, I should say. The Google Pixel 6 has an in-display fingerprint sensor, and this fingerprint sensor has gotten better over time with updates. While over here on the Motorola, you get a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, which is very, very fast. No issues with it. I like the position on the Motorola as far as being on the power button. You don't have to do anything, just barely tap it and it'll unlock your phone. You also get facial recognition on the Motorola Edge, and you do not get any sort of facial recognition on the Google Pixel 6, so you're just limited to the fingerprint sensor and the PIN or password on the Pixel 6. While on the Motorola Edge, you get all of the options as far as unlocking your device with the fingerprint sensor. And for me, I like to set my finger over here on the Motorola Edge. And as far as speediness goes, let's go ahead and test it out. So the Motorola Edge is a little bit faster than the Google Pixel 6 as far as the fingerprint sensor goes. Batteries on here are different as well. The Motorola Edge comes in at top with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery with 30-watt charging. No wireless charging, unfortunately, on the Motorola Edge, so that is something to consider. But battery life on here has been fantastic. The Motorola Edge 2021 has fantastic battery life. This phone will definitely get you through a day and another day, or a day and a half. Definitely a 2-day phone on the Motorola Edge. While over here on the Pixel, you get a 1400 milliamp hour battery. It does support 30-watt charging and reverse wireless charging and wireless charging on the Google Pixel 6. You do not get a charger in the box for the Pixel 6, while on the Motorola Edge, it does come with a 30-watt charger, which, funny enough, I'm using that same 30-watt charger to charge my Pixel 6, just because they both support 30-watt charging, and it works fantastic. The only thing the Google Pixel 6 has over the Motorola Edge is it does have wireless charging, and you can get higher speeds if you purchase the Pixel stand from Google to get that fast 50-watt wireless charging on the Google Pixel 6. So both of these devices are very nice and very premium devices. You get a premium build on the Google Pixel 6, but the Motorola Edge comes in with that higher refresh rate on the display. And cameras on here, of course, the Pixel 6 might be a little bit better than the Edge, but as far as other things go, you get a IP68 water and dust resistance over here on the Pixel, while on the Motorola it's just a water repellent design. Plastic build on the Motorola, glass and metal on the Pixel. Both of them very fantastic devices, and they are pretty nicely priced as well. Pixel coming in a little bit higher at this particular model being $699, and the Motorola Edge was $499 when it first got released. As far as prices right now, I'm not sure if it's gone back up or if it's still back at $499. But both of them offer excellent RAM, 8 gigabytes of RAM on both of them, 256 storage on both of them, large batteries, and fantastic displays. Cameras on here are pretty great on both of them. The cameras on the Pixel definitely are going to be a lot better than they are on the Motorola Edge. But with that being said, both of these devices are great, and hopefully you guys enjoyed my comparison of the Google Pixel 6 and the Motorola Edge 2021. And don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon, that way you don't miss out on future videos just like this one you saw today. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.